Hey, welcome back to Maybe Actually Museums Are For Me. I'm Alex, host of the podcast, and today I'm joined by Melissa Casale, Digital Marketing Manager at MAM, often my co-host. Happy to have you. You just got back from vacation.
I did. It's my first day back.
What did you do arts related in Salem, if any?
I did some crafting in Salem.
Crafting works. Crafting counts.
Yeah, I made my very own book. I took a bookbinding workshop.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. So strange. Is there an art museum in Salem?
There is the Peabody Essex Museum.
Oh, the Peabody Museum's
And
there. Okay, I didn't know that.
It is a part of NARM and Rome and a few other affiliates, but I didn't get a chance to go because they were closed for 2 of the days I was there, and the other days were booked. So
got it. All right. Well, interesting.
I'll have to go back up.
Yeah, I mean, your traveling isn't done. Neither of our traveling is really done. I'm going to France next week. You're going to London in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I guess we're just going all over the place.
We're getting so cultured.
Are you doing any arts viewing in London?
I don't have anything booked, but I do want to. I have a list of places I want to go.
Where do you want to go?
I want to go to the Tate. I've never been to the Tate.
Yeah.
I've never been there, so I think it'd be interesting. I want to go to the Victoria Albert Museum too. Yeah. That's a classic.
Oh, fun. Yeah. I want to go because I'm staying in Dijon, but I'm flying into Paris, and I'm definitely going to do like a day trip back to Paris. And I'm really trying to get to the Musée d'Orsay to see the Sergeant in Paris show. I've already seen it at the Met, but I think the idea of seeing one of the Montclair Art Museum's Sergeants, on view in Paris would be a very surreal thing.
Yes.
And then I'm sure there's a museum in Dijon. I'd be shocked if there wasn't. So I'll probably end up there, and then I'm hoping to do a day trip to Geneva. And I'm sure if I'm in Geneva, I'm not going to not go see some art. So yeah, all around, we're getting cultured over in marketing.
Yeah.
So today on the podcast, we're doing something a little different. Not really that different because we've done it before, but we wanted to kind of have a very casual, very low-key episode. Last week was episode 50. We were kind of doing something a little different. And this week we are going to answer some audience questions that were provided via our Instagram story. Every once in a while, we'll do these audience Q&As. We post on our story, asking for questions for us to answer. So yeah, if you want to participate next time, follow us on Instagram, Montclair. But yeah, Melissa, do you want to start us off by asking the first audience question?
Sure. So the first question that we have is, can you share a behind the scenes story about how an exhibition comes together?
Yeah.
Which I feel like you've discussed a few times on
I
the
have.
show.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, one of my many hats that I wear at the museum is I am our resident brand storyteller. I have to do a lot of documentary filmmaking, which is a real pleasure and a treat. And one of the things that I've, worked really hard to establish is capturing behind the scenes content and going behind the scenes with curatorial. And, I think every show is a little bit different in how it gets put on view. If it's a more contemporary show where the artist is present and around and able to contribute, like with Tom Nussbaum or Nanette Carter, or even back to like Vanessa German, there's input and communication, and obviously it's a curator's and a exhibition designer's job to put the show together, but having the artist there to talk about it and work with them through the logistics of, if you have a really large piece that needs to like make it in, how are you breaking that down and setting that up? That's all a part of it. And then it's also different if like say the artist is no longer with us, like with the George Annis Gallery, and it's like, how do you best represent that artist, as you're trying to present their work. So it's kind of, it ranges in how a show gets approached. As for a specific story that comes to mind, I kind of think about, I think of when like Interwoven Power came on view, and I was going back and forth with them a lot, and I was doing a lot of work with Laura, our Native American art curator, trying to document the process of putting on that show. And I think about like when we brought in the totem pole, that was a bit of an odyssey and a fun story. So essentially when we had originally taken down the Native American show previous, and there was conversation about how are we going to do this reinstall, what do we think about, like, you know, engaging the new space with. Osana, our chief registrar and exhibition designer, had kind of made the point that if we moved into the current space that the exhibition Interwoven Power, Native Knowledge, Native Art is housed in, we'd be able to show our historical totem pole that we have. The totem pole was created in roughly, like, you know, I think we have it on the label somewhere around like 1890, give or take. I could be slightly off. And we've had it since, you know, nearly the founding of our collection. So it's been around for a long time. It's a piece that people know and are very familiar with and love. And we had to get it out of, you know, storage and into the gallery space, and it is ginormous. And
it's all one piece.
It's all one piece. You can't break it apart, obviously. And so the battle to get it from its storage resting place through the museum, you know, you can't take it in an elevator. It's giant. You can't, you know, you have to be careful on your turns. And so, you know, following that thing, you know, loading it onto a truck, getting the truck here, getting it through the door, guiding it to the space, you know, finally once it's like lifted up and like getting bolted to the wall, it's like everyone's holding their breath, like watching it raise. And I think that's like the magical thing about like exhibitions going on view is just seeing it all come into place, because every show is different and everything is different. And I sometimes when a show goes on view, you kind of like really wonder, like, oh my God, I wonder what that was like. And
yeah,
you know, fortunately we're close enough with the curatorial to be like, hey, Audrey, like, how long did it take you to do that thing? And there's always a story behind all of it. But for me, like, that's my one little piece of information that I like to talk about, is like how much work the totem pole was getting that back on view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I always feel very fortunate where oftentimes I'm the first person you show like the videos you make to.
Oh, yes.
So I get to kind of be the first one besides you to see that. Like, you made a video for the totem pole, and I remember watching that being like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It is bizarre.
Yeah. But everyone was so excited because it hadn't been on view in such a long time.
Yeah. No, it's a special thing. I'm so glad that it's up and it looks great and the room is great. That was Osana's whole point, is like the ceiling is so tall in that room that it's like if we show it here, like we can actually like put up the totem pole. Like we can put it in like a space that like does the work justice. So yeah. Speaking of specific works, Melissa, is there a piece in the collection that you think more people should know about? And you know, that can be something that's on view now. That can be something that's just in our collection that maybe isn't in rotation. But you know, what do you think people should like keep an eye out when they come here for?
Something that's on. I'm thinking of things that are on view right now. And mine is actually in Interwoven as well.
Oh, okay.
One of the baskets in there, I think, is so incredible. And I don't know if it has a specific name or not, but it's the basket with other little baskets.
Oh, the Pope basket.
The Pope basket. Yeah. There's this basket in a display case in Interwoven Power where if you look at it, there's little things dangling from the lid and on the lid, and if you look closer, it's mini replicas of the actual basket that are dangling and that are decorating the basket itself. And it was made in the 80s, I believe, and it was made for the Pope at the time.
John Paul or somebody.
Yeah, one of them.
Is it John Paul? It might be John Paul.
Well, there were a couple of John Pauls.
There was a couple of John Pauls.
It was made in the 80s, and this is, I think, it's a replica of the basket that was actually given to him.
Yeah, essentially the artist loved it so much and was like, not like, obviously it was probably like a great honor to like gift this basket to the Pope, but I think there was a part of her that was just like, yeah, but I kind of liked it.
I kind of want it for myself.
I kind of want one.
Yeah, so I love pointing it out to people when I'm in there to be like, oh, look at that basket, because you might think, oh, it's just a basket, like there's other baskets in here. You might quickly glance at it, but then when you really look, you see the little mini baskets around it, and I think it's so intricate and it's just so beautiful. Like I could never weave anything like that. And I think that's just like a fun little thing to point out to people.
Yeah, no, it is. That is I was walking a friend who's going to be doing an event here at the museum. He needed a tour of the space, and we walked into Interwoven Power, and like always, it's like a very like excited and like interested kind of response and reception to that space, because there is so many like such cool works on display, and important works, and emotional works. But yeah, it is always fun, like you said, pointing at the Pope basket, because I very much did the same thing on Sunday, where I was like, check that out. So look at this, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
If I had to pick any, I'll probably go with what's off view right now in regards to like what's just within our collection. But a lot of the times, when you go out, you're at a coffee shop, or you're out to eat, or at a bar or something, and you strike up a conversation with somebody. It's like, oh, where do you work? Oh, the Montclair Art Museum. Oh my God, that's great. And a lot of times it's, either they're members, or they have never really been here in a long time, or maybe they came to classes when they were kids. So there's always this conversation of, what is that like? And essentially for me, a lot of the time I have to explain what's on view. And for somebody who's not like incredibly involved in the arts world, and may not be familiar with some of the contemporary artists that we have on view, I have to kind of go back to our permanent collection and drop some bigger names. And so it's always a fun surprise watching people kind of like realize the caliber of art that we have in our collection. And so it's like, oh, like you may not know, all of the artists that are on view in Family Community Belonging, for example, but we do have an Andy Warhol, which actually right now there are some Andy Warhol Polaroids on view, but we have an Andy Warhol painting, we have a Roy Lichtenstein, we have a Georgia O'Keeffe, we have an Edward Hopper, we have, obviously, like I mentioned at the top of this episode, a John Singer Sargent that's currently on view in Paris. Like there's some really, really huge names, and just to kind of like remind people of the caliber of work that we have here is always a fun joy. So Melissa, do you any more? I think there's 2 more questions. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you this question. So, how do museums balance showcasing historical works with supporting living artists?
So,
in your opinion.
So essentially, what comes to mind right now, again, we're a very Interwoven Power heavy episode, which is fitting because Monday was Indigenous Peoples Day, so this is kind of fitting. I would think of works like The Present State of the English on view in Interwoven Power by Sarah Sense, who is she's a contemporary artist who deals in these like woven works where essentially she takes photographs and archival images and maps and documents, and she prints them on these ginormous sheets of inkjet and cuts them up and weaves traditional Chitimacha patterns into the photos. She calls them photo weavings. And on view right now is her work, Present State of the English, and it's juxtaposed with 2 traditional Chitimacha baskets. So Sarah Sense is a Chitimacha and Choctaw artist. She was born and raised in California. She still currently lives north of Sacramento, but her Chitimacha and Choctaw heritage is very important to her. She spent summers in her teenage years on the reservation and really developed an interest and an appreciation and a passion for her culture, and has really, dived into what that means thematically through her work. And essentially, I think that a show like Interwoven Power, because it's not just these works that do this, but dozens of others that are able to show you what contemporary, modern artists are able to do with influence of traditional work. And for me, getting to spend time with Sarah in California, she was on the podcast. She's a friend of the show, friend of the museum. Sarah's the best. And getting to know her, getting to know, tribal leaders like Melissa Darden, who is the current chairman of the Chitimacha tribe in Louisiana, talking to them about, what traditional basket weaving means and represents, and, the importance of somebody like Sarah, using it to tell stories and to talk about history and hard histories, difficult histories through it is really amazing. And I think that, historical works like those baskets can absolutely inform art that we are presently creating and consuming, and doing them together is a really powerful thing that I think Interwoven Power does so well. And it's not just Interwoven Power. I mean, I think back to shows that we had here at MAM, like Matisse in American Art, where, you have the importance and the impact of Henri Matisse, like a French artist who was still through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, modern day, influencing American artists and seeing his style and themes and creativity and color palette being, emulated and celebrated in the work of others. This is my long-winded way of saying that, history informs the present. It's like the best form of flattery is imitation or what have you. Mm-hmm. And, I think that using, art of the past and masters of the past and tools of the past is a really important and informative thing for the creation of new ideas. Melissa, last question.
Okay.
What is one misconception about museums you wish you could correct for everyone? I like to always say it, but you're an art history major. You spent a lot more time in museums than I have.
Is that true now?
I think it's true. What's okay. What do you wish people
that they're stuffy, that they're boring.
So the point of the show.
the point of this show, where a lot of art museums are in this kind of neoclassical style, like MAM is, and just from the outside, people have preconceptions of what that means or what they'll find inside, and a lot of times it's that, like I said, they're boring, there's nothing that will interest them, they're elitist. That's kind of in the same vein, the elitist thing that you have to have some kind of art historical knowledge or degree or schooling in order to understand or appreciate what is inside a museum. And that's so not true. We've talked about it a lot of times. I also think that it's impossible to describe, have one definition for museums, because there are so many different types of museums. When people hear museums, I think art museum is the thing that comes into mind. That's what we work at, but there's so many different kinds of museums. There's natural museums, there's historical museums, there's science museums, there's learning museums, there's teaching museums, where
nautical museums.
Yeah. Where everyone working inside those buildings are all passionate about something, and they're trying to bring that something to the public and teach people about it and create a space where anyone and everyone can come in and learn and have as much appreciation as they do for whatever topic. I think that I would like to be in a world where no one's afraid to go into any museum, or no one feels like they don't belong in a space like that. I think that anyone from anywhere with any type of experiences or life story can find something that interests them. You just got to be willing to look. So, yeah.
I think that's a great place to end it. Thanks for all the submissions for this week's Q&A episode. We appreciate it. You can follow us on Instagram. That's MAM Montclair. You can follow us on TikTok. We're just the Montclair Art Museum on TikTok and YouTube. You can visit the Montclair Art Museum Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're open all the time, doing a bunch of stuff. We got workshops, we got classes, we got events, we got book talks, we got docent tours, we got everything. So please give us a rate, review, subscribe, listen wherever it is you stream podcasts. Tell a friend. Why not? That helps us a lot. if you're not already a weekly listener, hope you are, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.